Thank you very much. As I said, my name again is Lieutenant Moses Bangoli. I'm the president or the chairperson for the Vice Workers Union of Liberia. In 2020, we converged on this building and called for the amendment of this particular act. We converged on this building and called for the amendment of this act in 2021. And since then, be coming and going. I want to say thanks to the host to have again called us to be able to give our perspective. It is necessary that you elders amend this law because the law is not helping our people, it's killing our people. And the essence of law is intended to protect the citizen. And once it's not protecting the citizen, then of course we call for amendment. So it's necessary to change to be able to amend this law. The reason for that, we took it from the labor practices law. During that time, when you work for the company for 25 years, I mean, that's a statutory period. And you could be retired. But today, according to the Decent Work Act, you work for 25 years, you have to be waiting for 60 years before you can benefit from National Social Security. That's one. And the other one is when you work for the company, like what used to happen during those days, they retire you and give you 40%, the company gave you 40% because of the service that you render to them. That's how we call it this day. You work for them, they retire you and give you 40%. But the coming of the Decent Work Act into effect canceled that. That you have to only wait for National Social Security. Some companies do not give you anything at all. And some companies give you golden handshake that is of no significance to your life. Like for us in Firestone, we experience that when you are retired, when our people get retired since 2015, or 2019, up to today, there is no retirement. When people retire, they don't get any benefit. Sometimes they call you, you spend 25 years, you are in your 60, they call you, give you 500, 600, which used to be in the past, they call you and give you something like 2,000, 3,000. But today, they're 500, 600. So, on that note, we converge, we ask the House of Elders to be able to amend the law. And today again, we are here. We are still calling for this amendment of the law because the law that they call it Decent Work Act on retirement is not helping our people. That's why when we went to negotiate with the management, in our own wisdom as leaders, we thought it wisely to put it in our CBA proposal. And we battled with our management. We were able to succeed in amending that portion for us in our CBA, that when you are retired, you must be able to, the company give you 50% of your salary and then turn you over to Social Security. The reason for that, we said sometimes we are 20 years, we keep to work for Firestone or we keep to work to that company.
CBA?
Yes, our CBA.
50%?
Yeah, 50%. We were able to achieve that by the help of the Ministry of Labor because they mediated between us.
You don't say one thing and your CBA to say another thing. I thought CBA should conform to the provision of the law.
The law says we can be able to improve that on the table, and we did that. So the law does not stop us from improving our life on the table. So we're able to get that through our consistency. And yes, we're able to get 50% of our salary when you are retired. They pay you and tell you what to Social Security.
Lump sum payment, you mean?
Yes, lump sum payment. We have it in our CBA. There's a copy of the CBA. 50% of 1 month's salary. If for example, you are being paid $100, they give you $50 times a year you serve. If you serve the company for 20 years, they times it by 20 and give it to you. So we're able to achieve that, even beyond what we see here as 40%. So having graduated from this 20%, or 40%, we have already ascended. So we just came to again inform you as House of Elders that we have passed the stage of 40%. We are heading towards 50%. There is no way to come below this. So again, it is necessary.
My understanding should be that the 50% is not retirement pension, right? It's lump sum payment.
Now,
Am I correct?
yeah, that's why we call for, because we want you. The law says when you are retired, they tell you what the Social Security. So that period, because Social Security for us, they will take more than 1 year, 2 years before you can even process. They can process your document. That's what happening to us. So in our process, you can be able to manage your life in your 50% while you waiting for Social Security.
Social Security today?
Yes, today. It takes 2 years before some of our people benefit. Even some people who were retired last year up to currently are not getting benefit. So on that note, we panel on our management, we let them know that the reason we are asking for the 50% and they saw the need, they give it to us. So today we have 50% of our 50% of our monthly salary given when we are retired. Not only that, we are also able to capture 31 of the December Act that talks about invalidation, non-occupational injury or so forth. That again was silent in the December Act. People work for us. People work on the plantation. When you get sick, that job related, they abandon you.
But doesn't Social Security have a provision for invalidity pension?
Social Security has, but our company do not have. So they will keep it. When you are sick, they just tell you sit down. When we hear from Social Security, we'll get back to you. Some people die in the process. So on that note, we are able to capture that. Even that we are able to also get 50% when you are working for the company and you got sick. You got sick, not job related, whether job related or not job related, we are able to get 50% from that. Once you get sick and declare by the company that you are unable to work, then of course they will retire you or they will take you out, terminate your service and give you 50% of your salary, 1 month salary. So we are also able to get that. Natural illness, job related illness, we're able to get that. So those are achievements that we have already achieved in our sojourn as leaders for our people. So today we are here again, we just came to again call on the House of Elders to see reason to be able to pass the particular bill, because now it just narrowed down to one sector that in Firestone, other companies around may not be having this. So we are here again to reiterate our call to you to see reason to be able to pass it, because it will help our people. You can't have me working for you for maybe I was 20 years, I came to work for you, and I spent all my life with you. I have nowhere to go. I'm in a 60. There's nowhere to go. Then you retire me, you give me 500. So we are saying that does not have a human face.
The employer still pay the contribution to the pension scheme.
The contribution, we also paying it.
I'm not asking about employer.
Yes.
Because you say you retire with nothing, the employer gives you nothing, the employer
Oh, yeah,
contribution for you.
Yeah, that's why
right?
That's why we call it nothing, because I can work for you for over 20 years, 25 years, and I'm 60. I have no more strength. I have no more value to even, give to anybody. Then you look at me, you say, because I pay contribution for you, so I will not be able to do. Then there where I call to attention the old labor practices law. Those things were there. And I thought laws could be improved to help the people. But that law, it did not help. In fact, it broke the whole system down. That's what we're talking about, because that law should have been to help our people to forge ahead. But passing that law that took away the benefit of the people, in fact, then it made us, it make us vulnerable. So we call on the House of Elders to be able to pass the law. Thank you.
You want to speak? It's okay? Let me again.
Okay. Once again, I'm grateful to form part of the public hearing. I'm Wilson Ford, the Vice President. In the public manner, I would like to acknowledge the role of the Minister of Labor during our negotiation that today we are posting of 50%. The ministry play a vital role in succeeding in that direction. I just want to do a practical example about our tappers, because the tappers are the daily wages. If you do the average production of the tapper in 5 school, the man will produce 350 pounds, which is 5 buckets, 70 pounds per bucket. And if they may produce 350 pounds daily, you calculate 26 days he work for, he will be producing 9,100 pounds. You work for 11 months, with the 1 month is a vacation. If you calculate the 9,100 pounds per 11 months, it will definitely produce 100,100 pounds a year. If that man works, he was employed at the age of 25 years, and he worked for the company for 35 years. You multiply that 100,100 pounds by the 35 years, you get 3,503,500 pounds. In our practical life, if a man told this Pelicano pound for 35 years, being retired with nothing, after maybe 1 or 2 years before Social Security again, something. I remember when I even live for even 3 months in that. Almost every time we are burying people in fire too, because of this law. So these are things that we are asking our honorable host, the host of Ella, to see reason. What is happening out there? People are dying on a daily basis instead of their law improving the life of the people. Because retirement is time to rest and enjoy what you have labored for over the years. But instead of enjoying, you go into your grave. Today, if you will just call for retirees around Liberia, when they are somewhere, their physical morphology will tell you that they are suffering. So we're asking you to see reason. The law is affecting our people, and if you rectify the law or amend the law, I think it will help all of us so that we can live. Because I'm the youngest vice president in the history of FAU, and tomorrow I'll be retired. So if the law is not amended tomorrow, definitely I'm going to die like the rest of our colleagues that we're seeing dying today. So that's why we are asking you to see reason to amend the law. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You want to speak?
No,
It's okay?
At the same position.
I thought you were okay. All right. So, Minister, who here for you, please?
Chairman, the minister will leave for you to proceed.
Go ahead.
Okay. Senators, let me say in general that this amendment, in the eyes of the law, looks very good. I can recall sometime last year when we joined the Firestone Worker Union to negotiate, to be part of their negotiation of the CBA. They raised this issue that, look, there is always a waiting period after you are retired. When you go to, because Damien was like, when you are retired, you have to go to National Social Security once the company has been making contribution on your behalf. And so now it takes time. And that was when we joined them to argue, to make an appeal and make an argument to, we made an argument to Firestone. Say, look, since this retirement payment by NASCOR is not automatic, and there's always a waiting period. If you retire somebody and just say go to Social Security without any benefit, any little thing in their hands, it's something that demoralizes the people, and therefore we think it's important to look for some formula so that they go with some package.
So,
while they go.
Minister, what does the law say about retirement?
What are the
required to be retired?
On the decent work act, right now as it stands is that when you reach the retirement age and you are retired,
What is that age?
60 years. But if you are, for some reason, you are retired before 60 years, maybe for some reason, you have to wait until you attain.
What could be that reason? Because there will be outside of the law. It will be unlawful to retire outside of the law. What could be the reason then?
Some retirements are based on health reasons. There could be maybe occupational disease.
Because you give it provide for that.
Well, for the most part, even though they provide for it, but they will always maintain that age requirement.
That's not true.
No.
Well, I mean, from what we gather for the workers.
But really.
No. We're talking in terms of what we gather for the workers. Basically, most of the workers.
Social Security Act, what does it say about retirement? What does the leader say about retirement? What they told you about Mr.
Retirement.
Evidence there.
Okay, on retirement, the law requires this payment by Social Security for people who retire when they reach the legal age for retirement. The point I'm trying to make is that gap, there's always a gap in between the enforcement or the payment to the retiree and the time they stop work. So this law, I'm supporting the idea that the fact that this law is proposing an additional benefit. This is where that's the point I'm trying to make. Yes, that additional benefit that if you are retired, first you have 1 month notice period, which I think is good, and we are reinstating that. Look, even from the employee, you are getting 1 month pay for each year of service. In my mind, that's a good law. It protects the workers even before you can get to your benefit from Social Security. Mr. Chairman, that is the point I'm trying to make. And I think the law is good for all intent and purposes. And I'd like to see also, additionally, one of the areas that we...
Mr. Chairman,
Pardon me?
there's not law here. You're talking about
The amendment, the proposed amendment is good. and probably in the long run, maybe we may consider, because from the ILO point of view, we have received a continuous query that Liberia has 2 laws for workers. I hope in the future we have the Judicial Committee to also look at that, because as we amend the Decent Work Act, I'm sure the benefits here might not be equivalent to the benefit under the Civil Service Standing Order. So eventually we have to look at it to make sure that we don't continue to have this criticism of having 2 different laws with 2 different benefits for workers. So otherwise, this proposed amendment, in my mind, is in the interest of our workers, and definitely we will support it in any way. I think it's a good amendment.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Let me just make a little clarification here. I know the ILO may be speaking from the past, not now. I attend all those meetings myself. And they're talking about when we did have 2 issues of the Social Security, NASCA, and the other act that imposed so much hardship on employers. And it was changed. In general, this amendment, what it says to me is, yes, a company is going to give additional to their workers for working for that year. For those years, they're giving additional. It must not be taken for granted the 6% of your salary that they pay throughout your working history. That is what they do. So this is, when you make it law, it may seem to workers as double payment. But what you're saying is, for the period in between, so you're giving it as gratitude.
Right.
For your workers as that. As this is why the government pension was set up in the first place. The government pension that was with civil service. It was a free pension that government established for all government workers that work with government, and they gave a free pension. It was non-contributory.
From them.
Without nothing. So it would be almost the same kind of thing you're suggesting that companies should do. I do know in the past, but as the gentleman is saying, they have come up with a bargaining agreement, and if they've agreed with that, that's fine. With what at least Firestone is doing. I do know at the time when it comes, the Social Security starts at 60. If any, and sir, that you said it takes 2-3 years, that's incorrect information. We have 6 weeks to do it. But you see, excuse me, sir.
There should be no argument on
Yeah, we're not arguing. I'm saying, if Firestone is retiring a group of people, I'm sure they're not retiring them overnight. They are aware. So then you inform NASCA. We are not aware when you're retiring your people. Within 60 days to 90 days, you let us know. Just so that by the time the employee is retiring, he's not going to skip month. But if you wait, when the employee has retired, then you wait 2-3 months to inform us that the person has retired, well then we start that process. And so therefore it will take some time. But when it's not done properly, that's what happens. I'm sorry it has to inconvenience you, but that's what happens. But the act itself that is proposed, I'm all for it. Yes. It's that it doesn't change anything, and Mr. Minister, what you were talking about. My one thing I want to clarify, but I think you had answered it. What are the circumstances that you will not be covered?
Right.
I don't understand.
Right.
If you're sick, we cover. You can be retired before 60 on invalidity, and that's invalidity pension. And you come. Doesn't matter what age you are at that point. But it has to be now work related. It has to be work related. So we were talking to it has to be work related for Social Security to cover it.
Right.
And invalidity. And then you get a pension for that. Doesn't matter what age you are. If a worker should die in the process and he's 40 years old, he gets a pension. His spouse and people get their pension. So the 60 is only for retirement pension. But if anything else should happen in between, you are covered. So that's us confused. At what part would you not be covered? But as the act itself and what you're proposing, and what you're saying to, we work for all these years, do something for your employees. And I agree with that.
All right, so DG, let me come to you. What if in lieu of an additional pension, we decided that we should pass a law to increase the employer's contribution to Social Security for the employees? Would that be helpful? Labor and NASCO.
No.
You're now it's 6%, right? Now it's 6%. Why employer maybe you say you have to 10% to negate the need for another retirement pension.
But it will still come to the point where they were talking about the period where if you're not covered. I mean, the period between when you leave gainful employment to when you receive that. That's not the issue. The issue is timing. You see what I'm saying? If you increase theirs, you'll have to increase the employees. Unless you want employers to pay us 10 and then
it will be one way.
it would be one way, but that's the law. But if you want to do that, but it will still come down to the point of employees. Now I do know for a fact at the time when Firestone, when this new law went into effect, and rightly so, the gentleman had said Firestone has started with minimum 40%. No. That what you're talking about is just a thank you, the 50%.
Right.
What the pension they used to pay was 40%. And so when this act came into place, there were different scenarios of different categories of people. You had the people who were already on, who were already receiving both the 40% and NASCA. You had that group. And the Firestone had agreed to maintain that. Then you had the other group that were almost about to get there. This thing came in. They agreed to keep it at that. Then the other group, they decided for those, because NASCA starts at 25%, but you can go as high as 40. If you did NASCA and they had agreed, let's say you, Senator, you got 25%, they were going to add 15% to it, and for the rest of your life. So those were the different scenarios that they had done, and they had wanted NASCA to take over the administration. But there were all kinds of things, and that didn't materialize. So now the option is to enforce that you do something of a percentage like what they've come up with now, and it's a one-time payment. So that's something. Whereas what they were proposing, for me, was a better situation, but they prefer the one-time payment. So,
Minister, between this the proposal in this amendment and the one-time payment, which one you think, including which one you think would be better? You receive the 40% down payment for 1 year. I mean, 50% you said, right?
Yeah.
Half of 1 month's salary for each year you said, right? Right?
Yeah.
This is proposing a pension. Between the two, which one you think will serve your financial need better?
For what we want our people who we have worked together with for over 20, 25 years, the one-time shot is all right. That's what we say. One-time shot.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'd like to also thank the former leadership, our minister, and the DG for NASCO members of this table. I just want to restate the issue in its truest context. As the former leadership rightly indicated, you had a system under the old labor law that require employers at the time of retirement, or during the course of their employer-employee relationship, to contribute to the employee's pension fund with NASCO. That was ongoing. And at the time of their retirement, they also received 1 month for each year of service. That was what we had before. Until 2015, when the decent work came, and then this provision 22.1 made provision that if you are enrolled in the NASCO program, the issue of retirement pension doesn't apply. And after the passage of the Decent Work Act, the companies begin to implement that we've been contributing to your pension fund, and at the time of retirement, paying you 1 month for each year of service. But this your new law passed by the government says that we should only contribute to your pension fund as we've been doing, but we shouldn't give you anything.
No, I'm sorry. May I? May I?
Yeah, go ahead.
That paying 1 month for every year is totally separate. What the situation was, you had 2 pensions. Give an example, Firestone. You were paying a 40% pension for life and NASCA pension. Right. Not that one, that 40% paid with the one lump sum. Not that. That should continue. That should have nothing to do with the pension. But what it was doing, you had a company paying 2 pensions. Right. And that's what this law removed that burden from on the employer. They were paying 2 pensions.
But that's not the issue they raised. That's not the issue they raised. Can you speak to that? The issue raised is that while it's true that the company was contributing to your pension streams and they will still continue to contribute and they will give you 1 month for each year of service. After 2015, when we come in the force of the Decent Work Act, the company said, look, we cannot give you 1 month for each year of service. We only refer you to NASCO. That's the problem. And that's why the workers came back to us to say, look, as a result of the Decent Work Act coming in force, we lost our income. So we are asking you to restore us to where we were. That's the issue. That's the top of the matter. The 1 month for each year of service that was taken away. So after 2015, Firestone will retire you and they will give you that body handshake, 1 month for each year of service, and they will refer you to NASCO.
Okay. And I am saying that is not an issue. That is something they must do. The law does not stop them from doing that. The law is stopping them from paying you a pension for the rest of your life.
Additional pension?
In addition with NASCO.
No, that's not the issue.
I agree, so there's no issue to this.
Yeah.
The law did not stop that.
Yes, but they claim that the law stopped them. That has been the argument. They've been hiding behind 22.1 to say, look, we cannot give you 1 month for each year.
And Senator, I'm telling you that is not what the companies are saying. They're saying we cannot also pay
but
this.
That's not the issue. Let us talk.
Let me speak to that. 2019, we'll be around with honors too from legal people, legal-minded lawyers. Let me just say that laws are not retroactive. But in this scenario, we saw that the laws are being retroactive for the first workers. In that, even the people who were retired, taking their benefit, they call it now. Somebody was retired with $125. When he went to the place to get that money, they said go to NASCO, they only gave him $2. So the law was retroactive on that person.
Did you take that matter to Liberian?
No,
If it's a breach of the law, you go to Liberian. You think,
that's why the minister, or the management argument is based on the Decent Work Act, and that's why they are
no, it's because if a person was retired prior to the law coming into pay, then it should not affect his retirement.
They affected people today. They took the matter to the court. In fact, to the Supreme Court. They took it to the Supreme Court. Nothing came out of it. When Justice they went to Kakata, they won the case on 2 occasions. They came to the Supreme Court here in Chimba. They won it 2 times. Only to look when the full bench, when they called for the full bench, the time Justice Kobo was retiring, the time he was stepping in, that's the time he gave. 1 month to the time, that's the time he gave ruling, he said the poor were wrong.
So, Mr. Chairman, can I just...
So the law was reactive on our people. Up to now, there are people that are suffering it.
One justice can give ruling. One justice can give ruling. Then your opinion.
What?
When you can get ruling?
The couple bench you mean?
Yeah.
Because the way you said.
Yeah.
You have a copy of that ruling?
We got it in files too. When you reject,
I don't know the
we got a copy.
I don't know the
So the law was reactive on
I
our
will
people.
give us a copy.
I can do that.
Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Hello, Mr. Chairman, thank you. You know, the Honorable President for the Federal Government is indicating the law, the way it was passed, created ambiguity to the extent that some of the concessionaires begin to interpret the law in one way. And I'll give you one situation. If you were retired and then you were getting Social Security retirement payment, and the company was paying you, by the time the decent one came into force, okay, let's say maybe your retirement pension was $100, while the company was paying was $100, and then you were getting your Social Security retirement, whatever the amount was. By the time the law came into force, the company is referring to Social Security. When you went to Social Security and your retirement was 98 hours, and you raised the contention that we are still entitled to our private pension with you, the Social Security is a national pension scheme. The company came in and said, look, since you are making $100 and you want to Social Security again 98 hours, the only thing will give you $2. Yeah, that's what was being done. They will give you $2. If your pension for NASCO was $1 or $99, the company says, okay, we will amend it to $181 every month. And that affects a lot of people. But it's good that we all here, you all have agreed, and especially so. You know, maybe people were thinking that this was in conflict with NASCO. No, it has nothing to do with NASCO. It has nothing, it doesn't affect the national pension scheme in any way. And it's good that you all in the room have agreed that this is doable, this is fair. So let's move on and do the amendment. Thank you.
Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah. Please, let me just say one thing. The law did not tell any company, for as far as I know, if you were receiving the pension with Firestone and you were receiving NASCO prior to this, it should in no way affect you.
Absolutely.
This is what you say, or that's what they say. It's been my experience, what they say that comes out is never actually what is happening. There is no way it should affect you if you are already receiving both pensions. You will continue to receive both pensions. It should only start for those who were coming in
After the passage.
Not anybody who was receiving. So perhaps you should check it out to be sure. Again, the second thing that they were doing for new people that were coming in, that's what I told you. If you were at NASCA, whatever percentage you were doing, so that because they gave you 40%, they would add it up. That's where it comes in the $1 thing. So that you do not leave. I'm using $1 because I doubt anybody makes that. but they would carry it up to whatever 40% of your salary would be.
And is there any law? That's the question. The law didn't say so.
No, the law doesn't say so. But just a minute. But Senator, that was an agreement they must have come up with. They had a whole thing agreement they came up with. And that's the thing, each company could come up with that because the law gave them that right to do so. They gave them the latitude, that's correct.
In the CBA, it could be.
Yes, in the CBA, whatever they agree with, they agree with that. That's where that came from.
No, are you suggesting that we should put it black and white?
If you put it in black and white, then it's clear. Then it's clear. But what how do you do it?
I said it should not be goodwill.
Yes, because goodwill becomes discretionary.
Yeah.
It becomes so decide what it is and put it there, and then it becomes law. The goodwill, they can do anything like the gentleman said. Some people are getting 500 and they just decide I'll give you 100. No, if you put it into this, then yes. And then it has to have a start date. Because, mind you, never forget the part that they are also paying for the other pension. You have to also consider that as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to start my comment by asking the Labor Minister about severance benefit, whether he got anything on such in the labor law, which has to do with this 1 month for every year payment. Do you have that?
Yes.
What is it? Describe it for us.
Well, severance benefit will be paid where the company is experiencing economic downtrend or some difficulty. They can inform the Ministry of Labor that, look, because we are not doing well, we want to reduce our workforce. Therefore, those people who are in the employ, maybe without any cost to their life, they can consider the severance and services of some of them, and you pay 1 month for each year of service.
Do you also have anything concerning handshake, just in case you retire and leave in the labor law?
No, there's not like that.
All right,
So
so
while we have provision for retirement benefits.
So that will take me now to my comment. Mr. Chairman, you cannot discuss the decent work act, especially the provision 22.1 we're talking about, without talking about the NASCO Act. Now, I was one of those who worked with the interministerial committee on the both acts. So there were incentives for everybody, both the companies and the employees. You will notice that prior to the NASCO Act being passed, people were retired after 25 years of service. So if you were 20 years old, you started working with finance, you could be 45 years, you'd be out of job.
About 15 years after 60 years.
Yeah, and there where they were giving you now the 40% pension at the time. When the Labor Ministry and the Decent Work Act Committee noticed that, they saw an opportunity. And NASCO already terminating tenure from across the country, both in private and public sector. Because once they did it for the public sector, because there was a pension that was non-contributory. It was also retiring people from government after 25 years. And NASCO, the NASCO Act canceled that pension because it was piling up the payroll of young people who were in a branch to work. So that also applied to the private sector. So the Decent Work Working Committee saw an opportunity and applied that to the private sector and said, look, you will keep our people beyond 25 years up to the point of 60, but then the NASCO pension will take precedence when they reach 60, you get past their own term instead of retiring after 60 years. So there was a win-win situation right there. And I want the workers to know that that's how the whole thing came about when the Decent Work Act just chose the NASCO pension. But that doesn't stop the company from giving you whatever 1 month they were giving you. And the idea that probably the Director General was trying to explain was NASCO pension ranges from 25% to 15% depending on the time you were working. But because prior to the Act, most of the companies were giving 40% of their
last best salary to you. So if your NASCO coverage didn't reach 40%, they will have to amend it to reach to 40%. We are not being able to have a framework on that, and that's why the amendment is good, so that those are the gaps that we can fill in on. So it was a win-win. I don't want you to look at it as a reason where I just came and threw everybody off. You would not have been, how many years you been in Firestone, Mr. President? You have been retired by now, you have not been the president, and not been for that long. You know that? So it was a win-win. You could still be employed to 60, but then that is what we are saying now. Now, you will not always get 40% from NASCO, so the company will have to fill that. So it is a reverse that you are speaking of now, because they assume that your NASCO pension was up to 39%. First, will have to give you 1% to fill in that. But if they stop the 1 month handshake that they were giving you, it was never discussed in the law, and they should restore that. So I see most of the issue, I will close on it, Mr. Chairman, I see most of the issue labor related, then retirement or pension related. And I think FAO should be encouraged to follow up on labor issue and distinguish labor issue from retirement issue. Because if you and your people are not being treated the way you were treated, but instead you receive it, laws are not retroactive, you know it. You should have picked that issue up. You should have picked it up. So it's a labor issue, and most of them are not retirement issue. And we just think that this amendment will have to be careful with it, because it's the decent work I spent almost 5 to 6 years in these discussions. The amendment should be carefully looked at so that all the things that we missed when we were doing it, we can be able to correct it so that the citizens can be put at ease, and pension, and even our employers too can be put at ease with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. First, let me just take note of the little misunderstanding, but I think the Labor Minister has another version from the Director General of NASCO, and he had to correct you. You were talking about the ILO and different representations, because you made it appear that there were 2 laws in the books. And I think it's important to. You want to say something?
I mean, for workers in Liberia, both private sector got different law and public sector have two different laws. That's why ILO have been confronting us. That is it.
Is that right?
That was what we had in the past. So this has changed it. The pension law is the NASCO law, period. There's one law in the country. Prior to it being changed in 2016, 2017, yes, we had to. And that's when you had the civil service and things, but no, NASCO covers both private and public sector. There's one law.
So I think the concern raised is more on labor issue than national. I don't see where national come in. I think they have the regulation or their policies, and I don't think there's any confusion with the implementation of the policy. I see more from a labor side where we need to address it, and like Antoine just said, we need to revisit the law. If we have to visit it to strengthen it or to solve those ambiguities, because, for example, during our break, I was speaking to Senator Jim Smith, and he tells me that the Liberian agricultural company, for example, have different law on retirement, and then Firestone has different law on retirement. So yes.
I did want to bring that to your attention. Some of our parastatals are still retiring people on the tenure in 25 years. I understand the MPA is doing it. I understand LPRC is doing it. That is illegal. Right. And that's going to bring yet another problem. So perhaps the senators need to check in on that.
Yes. I want to make sure.
Yeah.
Can I?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I want to speak to what the Director General just said. If you read the labor law, the December Act 22.1, go further. You see, I can work for a company for 25 years, I say I'm tired. are called for retirement, they need to retirement, the law stated it's in here. So I might have to work for 60. It's in the law.
It's either or.
Yes, you can take other one, you can work all the way to 60. But I can work for 25, it's here. It's here. I can work for 25 and call for retirement. The only thing I will not force, I will have to sit down to wait for NASCO time to reach the level, the age 60 before I can benefit from NASCO. But the law says, because we take into consideration the job our people do on the plantation, you cannot work up to 60.
1 minute.
Yeah.
So, you retire at 25 years?
Yes, you can call for it. Yes.
After 25 years of work?
Yes.
Or when you attain the age 60? Either or, right?
You can take it out now. Yeah.
Chief,
Yes.
so if you work for 25 years,
Yes.
you reach 60 years,
Yes.
what happens?
You can call for retirement.
And that's all we.
No, you can't go to NASCO. I said you can sit and wait for 60 to reach the age 60 before you go to NASCO.
If you work for 25 years already,
Yeah.
and you qualify for retirement, but you 60 years old, you got to work till 60 for yourself benefit for your retirement benefit. What kind of law is that?
Yeah, but NASCO is based on contribution.
Yes.
So if you, okay, 1 minute, sir. So you got employed at age 25.
Yeah.
At 50 years,
Yeah.
you ask for retirement.
Yes.
You retire.
Yeah.
So in the 10 years period,
Yeah.
you are not contributing to NASCO. So when you reach 60, then you go to NASCO to pay for one period from the 50 years for that without the 10 years inclusive, right?
The NASCO law is here. You have 100 more to pay. So it's the first criteria that you qualify for. 100 more, any accident and so forth, you benefit. But
And the reason I'm coming back on it,
Yeah.
because in your intro, you mentioned that people have to wait for 2 years or so to get paid by NASCO. The NASCO DG had to correct you that based on notification from your employer, that is when you begin to activate your file.
no,
So,
it was not a correction. It's still happening. We got people who are living, they got retired, over 3 years, they are not getting benefit. So that's not correction.
I would like you to bring one.
Yeah, when we bring it.
okay, so it's part of the hearing, the committee is taking note. I think it's an important issue. So if you can prove that, then let's look at it. Because if, again, the NASCO said, if they are not notified, your file is not activated. So we also need to look at, but what I'm looking at to close the chairman, is that this is more of a labor issue that we need to correct. And then if we need to revisit the law, then let's revisit the law. But I don't see from the explanation from NASCO, I don't see an issue regarding the NASCO side, except when you just introduce that there are instances where people are not paid 2 years or so before NASCO or company. So once you can bring that to the committee or to this body, then we can look at it and then go back to NASCO. All of that.
So even at that, I have NASCO's problem.
That's why you done?
As you rightly
You
said,
not objecting.
Oh, okay.
as you rightly said, that's a NASCO's problem. If you work for your company, they are withholding on your behalf and remitting to NASCO. There are instances where maybe they will not remit, and they have to, at the point of retirement, they have to submit your document and ensure that it's processed, and you become active on NASCO's file. They have to do that. NASCO will not do that for you.
I
So,
agree.
so all of that is not still within the NASCO. They
I
have to
fully,
do it.
I fully agree with you, and I think if we will count all without by one entity or public corporation that has set a good record, you will refer to them. But if someone is doubting that, that's what I'm saying, for clarity, especially for the public, bring that record. Let's see if the problem is from NASCO. If the problem for NASCO, then we'll go back to NASCO and say, Mr. Director General, you give us this information, but here is an instance that is proving that is not the case. But other than that, I still don't think the problem is to NASCO. I still think there's a gap that we need to look at and need to fill in that gap. And don't forget that you said 100 months or based on your contribution. So if you're not contributing during that period, how do we blame NASCO? So let's look at it again and see. I still believe in closing that it's more a labor issue that we need to look at, the labor law, see how we can make the necessary correction, if any. And then, because there are two issues here. You got to look at the labor side from the company perspective. You got to look at the NASCO contribution you've made to get paid at the end of it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Senator Tyler?
You got one, David?
So, yeah.
You got Joe? Got one?
Yeah, okay. Mr. Chairman, my question is with the Minister of Labor. It's not really a question, but I just want to understand something. You said for severance benefit is 1 year, 1 month for every year work.
Yes.
The employer is supposed to pay an employee 1 month for every year work. Is that correct?
Yes.
And it comes about, according to you, when the company is experiencing some difficulties and they decide to maybe redundant or whatever some employees, I want to come about. Yes. So then what is the difficulty? If the company is experiencing some problems, if they have to pay 1 year, 1 month for every year, what is the difficulty paying an employee who worked for 25 years and retired 1 month for every year what? Because I think that the cross of this discussion, and I think that's why the workers are saying, if you pay me, then you are laying me off because you got some difficulties. How about a guy who served you for 25 or more years to be paid 1 month for every year work?
What
That would be a problem.
The difference there is that for pension, there is a tenure requirement. For severing, no. You work for a company for say 2 years, and the company has difficulty and decides to sever the services of some of its employees, you will still be entitled to that 1 month pay for each year of service, which is different from, because there are requirements in retirement ordinarily. Either you attain certain age or you work for the company for a number of years. That is not the same as severing.
No, you don't get the one position. Say for instance, I work for the company for 10 years and I was dismissed and I went to the labor ministry and you determined that it was unfair labor practice. And so you maybe already to pay me 1 year, 1 month for every year. Is that a practice?
Well, the two things. If you are dismissed illegally,
Yeah.
there's a different penalty because the penalty for illegal dismissal is punitive. If
What about the time we are talking about the severance benefit, severance pay? Is it 1 month for every year?
yes, I'm saying severing pay, the only thing is there is no tenure requirement. If the company was established today or this year, next year, it had problems that threaten the closure of the company, but if they reduce the workforce, they will be able to remain viable, yes, then that rule applies. If a person work one month or 1 year with you, pay them 1 month and give them notice pay. If they work for 20 months, you pay them 1 month for
If I work for, let's put it 20, I work for 25 years.
well, I'm sure at that point,
In my 25th year, you dismiss me. I go to labor. Labor determined that was unfair.
for that one is different because if you work up to 25 years and you were dismissed illegally or wrongfully, the law requires that you can even be paid up to 60 months.
So you pay, I'm not going to do this as I'm going to separate first. You're going to do it damage or whatever it is.
Now, because severing and dismissal are not the same. The severing, you don't have to do anything. It's not a fault of the employee. It's just the economic situation will warrant you being severed.
But the logic I'm drawing is, if I can benefit from that, then why would the guy who served for diligently for the number of years and I'm 25, why can't he receive 1 month for every year? Here comes the talks about the employees are pushing, or the representatives of the employees are understanding it out. That's the logic in the line they are pushing. Because the logic there is, if it's separate 1 month for every year. So I would work diligently for 25 years or 20 years. I'm retiring. Why don't you pay me 1 month for every year? I mean 1 month for every year work.
But that's what the law is trying to restore now.
Okay.
That when the decision came into force, that was removed and said, look, if you
So it's a good
retire,
thing to work out.
it's a good thing. I always spoke for that.
So I don't think that problem is the chair. But I want to take
Senator Smith?
Okay. Senator, thank you. Mr. Minister, I have two concerns for you to address.
Okay.
First, when I was chair of the Labour Committee, we had the same discussion. It didn't go far because election politics were around, and politicians were not model. So that was understandable. But at that time, the Liberian Agricultural Company explained to us that they were not in the business that causes contention between the workers and management of Firestone. The management of LAC told us that their policy is 6 months to your retirement. First, they will hold what they call pre-retirement discussion or counseling with you. Once your retirement reaches, they call you, give you your package, retirement package from the company, and then send you over to national. Okay. On the other hand, it was not like that. They retire you, go to national. That was the issue.
That was the issue after the coming into force of the disappointment.
Yeah. Okay. And so, what would be your advice as a country, as Minister of Labor, for the legislature to decide and legislate on the two issues? 1. 2. The workers there cry on me again, or the committee at the time. There was something that going on in the labor community, or that is still going on in the labor community. People work with the concession with job contract division, and the workers that were working with the company, they would be at the mercy of the contractors. How the whole issue of permanent job becoming contracts. That's my issue. Permanent job becoming contracts. Because I'm now a lawyer, I'm not professing to be one.
Senator,
Yeah.
can we stay within it?
Yeah, but I mean, these are some of the issues that go towards the benefits and all that. Because when they throw out, when they make a division, let me first one as an example. Your retirement time has not come, but then they contract your division you were working on. So then what happens? So I suggest that there should be more discussion on how Liberia has reduced lifetime job or that have perpetual existence to contracts. Thank you.
Well, I don't know if the chair wants me to address that.
If you want to.
Maybe I will say something quickly about it. If you probably will recall about probably 4 months ago, I issued an order to Firestone that says do not concession out any of the division that you have workers there who are directly involved with Firestone. They responded to me and said, look, for those areas that we are giving them out as concession, those are new plantations. In other words, we do not concession out division that has permanent Firestone workers. Again, this is said in my mind, still subject to some verification. We intend to pay another visit there to see whether or not this can be confirmed by the union. But this is what it said. But we think that one of the things which we thought of one time that I think that would be good for the legislature, for our legislators, it would be that if Firestone core job is to they engage in the production of rubber and they do the production by tapping, those core function should not be concession out or subcontracted to a third party. If they do, we should require that Firestone obligation under the original agreement with the government should remain on Firestone. Because there were areas where they concession out to the Liberian contractors and there was school. We did that. There was school. And if they have to go to school, they cover distances. And those subcontractors, most of them were not financially strong to build school or to provide transportation. So this is something that the legislature needs to look at. If you require Firestone to maintain their obligation under the original agreement with government, it will discourage them from subcontracting these divisions. So it's something that we probably need to look at in the future, so it's not a direct subject of discussion today.
Yeah.
Thank you, Senator Brown. I think
I wanted to say
the workers outside of the city. Then let's take the.
I wanted to give a recommendation to you.
The patient. Thank you, Senator Brown. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
I think my point, I want to draw all our attention to what this amendment seeks to achieve.
What is the intent
Of this amendment. I think if you read in the preamble, the second paragraph, whereas in furtherance of this objective, the Decent Work Act 2015, section 22.2 of the aforesaid Decent Work Act 2015 provides that employers shall pay pensions to employees, but also providing section 22.1 thereof that the requirement for employers to pay pension to employees is not applicable where the employer has complied or is complying with provisions of the National Security Corporation's national law regarding the establishment of pension scheme to which both the employer and the employee contribute. Is this a true representation of the Decent Work Act?
Yes.
If that is it, then
I will.
some of us before coming here were passing through the private sector. And we saw that companies were paying pension while at the same time contributing to social security. And his amendment seeks to
restore what used to happen.
No, that would be wrong.
Is that what he's saying?
That's not what it's, you just told me that's not what you're trying, you're not trying, you're trying to do the handshake or what they gave at the end. It was a good thing to stop the 2 pensions.
Right.
But what this gentleman is saying, what they gave you at the end for the amount of years, 1 month for every year, or half your salary for every year,
Right.
that should continue.
And it should not be misconstrued.
It has nothing to do with it. The other one is canceled. What they're saying, they don't have to do it. They're telling the company, you don't have to give another 40% pension, but you must pay into NASCA for the employee.
Okay.
So that what you gave when the employee is retiring has nothing to do with the law. There's no reason it should stop. Whatever you were given, you should give it.
It's an improvement of the law.
That's what this amendment seeks to do. To make sure that the employer continue to give the whatever pension or handshake.
It's not pension.
It's a handshake.
Yes, continue.
That 1 month for each year. That's why the law seeks to.
No, what the law is doing is not every company that does that. If you make it a law, then every company will have to do that.
Of course.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
We're passing law and not for finance.
I agree.
We're passing law for the whole country.
I agree.
Because I started by saying that some of us people got here, went to the private sector, and we saw that going on. So, for me, if that is the case, Mr. Chairman, we need to look at it carefully, but I think the objective, if that is to restore, if that's cut off, it's cut off, it's cut. You tell me that you have a company that is paying 2 pensions, 40%, and then another pension to NASCA. And what the law did was to say, no, you don't pay that other 40%. The other pension, but you must pay for the national pension. Okay. So they moved that, but what you give at the end to your employee, there's nothing. Why would it stop you? It does not stop you. Right. You give it for
Because it also
that's something you give to your employee for working with you all those years.
Right, you're right. Because it's like what the government does. I mean, what is it? I don't know what it is. They used to give
those kinds of things.
They almost
It's basically the same
if government can do that, then I think government should continue to do that. So we need some fine tuning, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we need some fine tuning of this proposed amendment. I think we need to do that. But I think generally, the workers need it. The labor ministry doesn't have a problem. Social Security says it doesn't take away anything. And I don't see why the employees, because the employees used to do it.
Yeah.
They used to do it.
Yeah.
So I think we can do it. Yeah, my recommendation is let's look at it and see how we can do some. All right. So you want to know the law.
All right. Okay.
Oh man.
But one more thing. Let me clarify one thing. Mind you now, there is no reason why the company should stop paying. Because the fact that the law has made them stop paying that extra 40%, it's a win for them as well.
Right.
So you're not paying this extra 40% for life.
Right.
So there's one pay also. That's not an issue.
Right.
It should not be an issue.
Right. Right.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I pass law or vote on law, I'd like to understand it properly. So I will break my question down. Any employer here, the private sector employer, for the hearing, because it also has to do with employers.
Actually, why you didn't take more interest in this?
Exactly.
But,
do we have any employer sector representation here?
I'm an employee.
No, besides last one.
But let's talk about now.
We are, yes, the private sector.
We invited
So, do we have
They're not here.
No,
But then we'll go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Francis has to excuse. They say I'm
You said excuse.
Francis said excuse.
but the thing about when you go finance, we're talking about employers working in the private sector. So when the finance, is that when the finance, we're talking about
Because they represent the legal employer.
Okay.
Last news, a member of Moruga Brewery.
Okay. No, okay, sir, I just wanted to be clear. So my question now goes to Faru, NASCO, the Minister of Labor. I just want simple, clear answer. They draft bill to repeal or to amend Chapter 22 of the Decision Right Act, Section 22, as related to what is contained in this draft for amendment. Is it a good law?
Yeah.
Should we pass it? Is it going to be a good law that benefits you, the Liberian workers, or worker workers?
Yeah, that's why we brought it here.
Mr. Minister?
I think the law is good. I mean, from all indications, the workers have been talking about this. They criticize the removal of this 1 month pay for each year of service and retirement for the different companies. All of the areas we visited, they raised it as an issue. So that's what I agree that this amendment will also address their concern.
Thank you. NASCO?
Okay, Senator,
Yes,
so
sir.
if you see what I mean, and when you get to now, therefore, it says, in addition to whatever benefits or payments an employer upon retirement from the employment of an employee is entitled to pursuant to Section 2222 of the Decent Work Act or the NASCO law, specifically Section whatever, retirement pension and that invalidity pension, the employer shall pay to the employee 1 month's salary as retirement notice and also pay the aggregate of 1 month's salary for each year of service. If that is what is being amended, then it's good.
That's it.
Because that's the crux of the matter.
Right.
That's it. That's it.
In effect, this is not a retirement issue.
No.
This is benefit for working for number of years. It is, so it is one time deal with it.
And the people pay the law. One payoff.
Chief, you know, a good of paint a clear picture of what we intend to do, so that you need that decision by clean. This provision is not a retirement.
No, it's not.
It has nothing to do with NASCO.
No.
You work with one company or one institution. After your number of years, time to retire, they give you their compensation.
That's it.
And
That's it.
your retirement life is with NASCO.
Yes.
And their compensation the company or employer will give at one time.
One time.
And not every month,
No.
but not every year.
No.
And I was doing it.
Exactly.
Thank you. So, the fact that the sector people, the people who will benefit, the people who they should affect, the labor minister, who is the principal advisor on labor-related issues to the government, NASCO that has to do with retirement. You all have settled on the record on the oath that this amendment proposed is good. I am going to clear my confusion. What's the difference between pension and retirement?
Retirement is what you do. Your pension is your funds that you get. You retire from active employment. Your pension is your money.
So,
Your pension fund.
I can't.
And before we go there, the one thing I'm not comfortable with is the 1 month in lieu of notice. That's not necessary.
Right.
Because every employer should give ample time to the employee, at least 3 months. The law says at least 3 months, right?
3 months.
Yeah, so why are we paying you again for that? I agree with the 1 month.
Except the employer is not doing that, they pay for the 3 months.
Well,
When they're doing that, then they know it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we declare with the language in the law so that it doesn't look like either or both.
Yeah, not either or must be definite.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do we politicians get pension?
Oh, that's a whole other story.
Okay. That is why I
Answer is yes. The answer is yes. After the 2016 reform, now everybody in the country is under NASCO, from the president down. The entire legislature was exempt up until 2017. Yeah. You were exempt. Pardon me?
I say you should be count.
As what?
So what I was suggesting,
As an legislator then.
what I was suggesting to the committee, to the chairman,
I can't
to the joint committee, the chairman,
I said up until 2017.
Mr. Dewey,
Yes.
vote on this. I was suggesting to the committee for another hearing that will bring back the Minister of Labor and NASCO. No, not in the sir. Yeah. What more? Meaning, because this pension and retirement thing will happen. I will make my case for the look at. But in closing, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'd like to ask the Minister of Labor, chapter 5 of the Decent Work Act. It talks about minimum wage board. That board is established by this act. They need extra to populate the board. Action must be taken. You are the chairman of the minimum wage board by chapter 5 of this act. Automatic. Is that board active?
Yes, yes. As we speak, the secretariat or secretary to the board is in the region collecting some statistics that will help the board to review the minimum wage in Liberia as compared to the other countries in the sub-region. He's out right now. I think he's right now he's out in New York.
When was that board constituted?
The board was constituted by President Weir before the election. It's a tenure, they are 5-year tenure. We cannot disturb it until the tenure is over and we'll make the appropriate recommendation.
When was the last time the board, that minimum wage board?
When it met,
When was the last time they made a report on minimum wage?
no, this is what we're doing right now. They have been meeting and discussing. We have workshop, they had a workshop in Bangor, I think about maybe 2 months ago. You attended the workshop? Okay. So we have been discussing, we've been on their bike to see if this time we ought to look at the minimum wage by sector. That's what we're contemplating right now. And I hope it comes out maybe before the end of the year, we should come up with something to share with the committee on labor.
Mr. Chair, I read something next week, don't come out and work on it.
The minister is not here for that.
You see a minister trying to go up in the road now. You gotta put a car so it's trying to go, they went for that train, I'm a challenge man.
The only question the minister is who do you need to remember all the plans?
And then now one way everybody goes to the minister. Sorry.
Let your be in.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I have 3% now in KG. I want to help me clear the whole consent. I heard the fire supervisor document saying the law says out of them. So you serve for 100 months or 25 years and you can go in for a pension. Why if the person worked for 25 years and he stay at the age of 50 or 45? And the law says all of them, but then their pension law did not give right for them to have that money. They have to wait for another 5 years or 10 years, not even, maybe the person got sick. The person died because of just no money. And since the law was saying all of them, why can't you create, don't you think it's a good thing to amend that portion, that small portion, to give right to them instead of sitting and waiting for the next 10 years or 5 years, even the down of
Oh, I'm sorry. You, everywhere in the world, your pension is of age. Everywhere in the world. And the Liberian pension is at 60. We will not change that. The law will not be changed. We won't even recommend that. Monies have to be invested and stay there. The 100 contribution comes up, contribution means monthly payments. 100, well, I'm not sure. 100 comes up to 8 years and 4 months. After that, you are vetted. And now you can receive 25% at 60 years old of your best salary. At that point, not before. You have different forms of pension. If you chose to, I'm not saying that law that says you have the option, not the option for NASCAP, no. I don't know what option, everybody has the option to decide to retire. If you retire working, you say, I don't want to work. That's not called retiring. That's just resigning. And if you chose to do that, and I'm not sure how your pension is going, your pension is at 60. Everywhere in the world, you have an age set. That's how the pension works. That's an age set. For Liberia, it's 60 because it is governed by, what's the thing? The life expectancy. That's how it's done. It's not by deciding, oh, I'm finished, I decided not to work, and so, oh, come get to know, they don't work like that. It's a set thing, and it's 60 for that. Other things, if anybody gets sick in the process, there's another pension that you can attain before you're 60. Let's say you 40, and you get on your job injury, or forbid, you die. Your spouse gets your pension, and your children under 21. Again, you don't have to be 60 for every situation, but for retirement pension, it is assumed that at 60 in Liberia, then you're getting old and tired. It's not assumed anywhere in the world that you will be 30 years old and decide I'm retiring because I've worked 25 years. Nowhere in the world is that assumed. It's assumed you're at a certain age before you receive retirement pension.
Okay, you see that good thing, but for example, classroom teachers, most of the time when they are at 60, then they are ready to work.
They are ready to work.
Ready to work, more than like to teach.
Sure.
But in most Eastern, when the classroom teachers are 60 years old, they want to continue in their pension.
They want to what?
They want to continue to work or teach and be patient because of the law. So, from most cases, we feel like we're today, teachers. So, is it a possibility that if you want to continue in your career of working, more especially when it comes to teaching, is it possible that we can do something about that?
Okay. Now you have the NASCA pension is at 60. The national pension, employers can keep you on to 65. So all those teachers, if the Ministry of Education felt that these teachers were indispensable, you keep them on to 65. At 65, you can keep them on to 70. At 65, you have to retire them. But at that point, for people who are still working after 65, NASCA has to pay your pension, whether you are working or not. You have to start receiving your pension at 60. But as long as you're 60 and you're still working, you have to pay. But if you're 65, you have to.
Somebody, you got one beneficiary already.
But as long as he's work 65, you have to. Now you see again. I wouldn't know this.
I think 65.
No, 60. You are still working. If you're 60 and you're still working, you have to continue paying.
That's the
until
maximum
65.
retirement.
Yeah.
65.
But 65, whether you're working or not, we have to start paying.
Are you qualified?
No.
No, la confusion, I'm not going to get into it. Okay, let me, I think you finished.
So was I clear, sir?
Yes, sir.
Well, let me just start. I will have a comment and then I will have an inquiry. First of all, let me thank the chair for organizing this forum to give us the chance to get some clarity on this matter. I feel very happy and vindicated today, having brought the decent work bill to this legislature 15 years ago. You know, I was a consultant with the ILO consultant who worked on this bill. But I see today that you are everybody pressing the bill. That even the proposed amendment does not conflict with anything but to just enhance what is on the board. So I want to thank God for my contribution to this. Then the other thing there is I want to just take a chance with the inquiry made by Senator Dillon to the Minister of Labor. We're talking about decent work bill and we're talking about minimum wage. The Minister of Labor for the private sector ensured the minimum wage on the board. But we have to make the effort with the Minister of Internal Affairs and other ministries of government to see whether does that ask first does that decent work pay minimum wage apply to government employees? If you know the labor standard.
No. Public sector workers are governed by the Civil Service Standard Order. That is different from the Decent Work Act.
So do you have a minimum? I know what the Civil Service Order is done here. But it would be good to have a ministerial consultation on that, so that while you're trying to hold the private sector for minimum wage, then you cannot be way below them. Just so we can have a narrow the gap, if not the same.
Thank you.
That discrepancy is spoke when you're talking about having two sets of laws.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Senator Connor?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Not to prolong it, I think colleagues have covered most of the issues. The key issue for me was the consultation with the private sector, and that we should not take one size, the approach with Firestone being the yardstick. We have so many big corporations in the country, and this amendment is going to affect them. So maybe before we conclude here in the committee room also, we should have an opportunity to speak to the private sector actors to see if they have benefited from the consultations that were expected to be completed on this. But that's our standard here, that before laws come in, it should benefit from widespread consultation, so that all the stakeholders who are going to be affected by it have the opportunity to contribute to this amendment. Thank you.
Yeah, Senator.
Thank you.
Co-presiding.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to thank the panelists for their contribution here today. This document is being voted, and it looks like we are getting in daylight. Just want to ask our debate one question. The issue of contact or consultation when an employee is about to come to you to apply for Social Security, either from the government or from the private sector. How much notice will you need from an employer to get to you before the applicant comes to you?
Okay. It would be very helpful for 3 months in advance, because I'm assuming you make your plans this year, we're going to retire this amount of people. And so then you send that information on to NASDAQ with all the relevant information and the date of retirement. And so the hope is so that the benefit does escape a beat. But sometimes it's difficult. Now, one thing I would like to say to that, and also to the workers, this is a tripartite arrangement. NASDAQ deals with the employer, the employee, and then NASDAQ. Each of us has a responsibility. You have a lot of employers, public and private, that employees assume they're deducting their money. They assume that they're remitting them to NASDAQ, and they're not. That where the employee comes in for their responsibility is to make sure with NASDAQ, come and find out if your money is being deducted or being remitted. But then you wait until you reach pension, and then you come only to be told, oh, it was never given. Then there's a problem. Then there's a delay. So whenever there's a delay, there are problems. If everything is, normally whenever you make payments, we have an automated system. Whenever you make payments, an employer, you're supposed to send in your payroll to everybody's name and and we have all that good. If that is done, when you tell me Senator Nyan Twain is retiring, I just need to pull him up and everything comes. You don't give me the information, I don't have it. Then it's time for Senator Nyan Twain to retire. And where do we start from? But yes, if you give it 3 months notice, it would be enough time to
Yeah. Come on, allow me to make a follow-up to that.
Go ahead.
Is there a two-way street between NASDAQ and employers on this matter? Because you need to have a complete registry to ensure that people who got employees are complying with the law so that they don't get suffered. So do you do that?
Certainly, indeed.
But then why are you complaining?
I'm not complaining. I'm saying where is the employee whose money is being.
You say that when you start making sure that your deduction.
I'm saying why are you not interested in who's deducting your money?
Why am I not invested?
As an employee. It's your pension. You have no interest in it?
No, if you ever have interest, I wouldn't know.
Why would you not know the deduction every month?
The way employment is done here, people will not tell you many things.
I'm not talking about your particular, when I say you, I mean an employee.
All I'm saying is that there have, with all of that, in addition to that, there needs to be a two-way relationship.
And we do have it.
Between NASDAQ
I agree.
and it will be NASDAQ duty to ensure that all employers are going to register with them and comply with the law.
And we so do that. Okay. However, I wouldn't know exactly who Senator Nyan Twain is. For us at NASDAQ, Nyan Twain is a figure. But Nyan Twain knows he's Nyan Twain, and he should come and find out if his money is there. So I find out that he's registered, but I don't know who the person is.
Okay, well, once you got
That's the name that keeps coming to me.
I'm retiring soon.
Okay, thank you.
When you retire, I will say.
Thank you.
You can never retire.
Thank you, Honorable. Again, I want to say thank you.
You want to say something?
I'm coming, sir. Yes, sir.
There is a public health impression. It may be right, wrong, that to get national benefit, you got to fill out visa form or go to heaven and come out. Address that.
Well, I think it's all fallacy. I don't know how to address common talk like that. It's not true, but we will follow procedures. They have to be done.
Sir, how long does it take for someone to start, to get a benefit from NASDAQ?
Okay, like I said, when you come in, it starts from the beginning. You are employed. your employer sends us information that you are employed with XYZ company. You make monthly contributions, they come in with the payroll. It's there. At the end of the journey, if your company gives me information, Senator Darius Dillon is retiring by December. But I have all the information, right? I should have all your information.
Sir, please. I'm talking about a former teacher, a former...
We don't deal with individuals, we deal with administrative in civil services.
So, one minute. When you retire a former teacher,
What do you mean a former teacher?
the teacher retired
Yes, from where?
from public school.
Okay, so she works with somebody.
So that if retirement benefit goes to the institution.
No, the institution tells me that she's retired. All those people in the
Okay, so my mother, I'm giving one.
Yes.
My mother is a retired police officer.
Okay.
After 10 years of police service.
Yes. Yes.
Her retirement, monthly retirement, she goes to the police to get it?
No. Unfortunately, with that, they were also in the group of exempted people. So if she's been retired a long time ago, they were getting the civil service pension.
Okay.
Not because it's...
So I really told my mother, I brought it up.
No, but it's a scenario. That's a scenario. That's a scenario.
Yeah.
So those people, everybody in the police,
Yeah.
they were never, the security sector, they were never on NASCO. They were on the...
A teacher who retired today, yesterday, Lieutenant Colonel reality.
Okay,
A civil servant
yes,
retired yesterday.
Yes.
Foreigner today.
yes.
How do they get there? NASCO
Money.
money.
First thing, civil service sends us the entire list of everybody who declared, because that's their employer, the civil service agency.
Is they coming every month regularly? Question.
Their pension?
Yeah.
We have over 27,000 pensioners now that get paid every month before the 15th of the month.
Sir, do they get paid? They are not talking about the number of persons you already said.
But did you not hear me? I said they get paid every month by the 15th of the month. In every personal bank account.
So you're suggesting that Mr. DG,
Well, let me tell you something.
Mr. DG?
Yes.
No, I can do it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that kind of. I'm dealing with people out there who send me here.
Yes.
And this is what they tell me everything. That they get their money from NASCO, retire their money from NASCO. Even at 10 hours, even at 10 hours, until we improve it. They say, in fact, it's frustrating. And you say it is regular, active.
It's regular and active over 20,000.
You want to off.
I'm not old. I don't know what I'm saying.
Okay,
Let me tell you now, Senator. We have taken over the free government pension. The one that, the free pension that government used to pay, that was paid from finance ministry. That pension has all those government employees that were not on NASCO. We administer the pension, but we only administer it when GOL pays. They may not get their money on time because government Liberia doesn't pay. It is not NASCO's money. So they may be those pensioners that you are referring to. But the NASCO payroll, you can check anywhere. It's out.
Okay, so then my constituents come to me with that issue.
Send that to me.
I will bring them to the community so we can send them out.
Gigi, specifically on that issue you commented on, as a member of the PAC committee of the Senate, the Public Account Committee of the Senate.
Yes.
My chairman, Amara can attest to this. We had a retreat last week at Farmington. A GSC report telling us that most of the government ministries and agencies in Libya have collected money from the employees but not related them to
the government employees are paid through finance, that's how everybody gets paid.
Yeah.
And I will say GOL pays that 4% of the money they take from the employees, they pay tax. It is their payment as an employer that they don't pay, which is 6% that they don't pay.
Oh.
That's what they do. That's what the GAC is reporting.
Okay.
But the money is deducted from the government employees are remitted.
You see? Okay, so.
All right, so what are the one opportunity to just do something?
Hello. I think we have exhausted the agenda.
Something new you want to talk about? The
The agenda has been exhausted.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, we don't come here normally, so we are here today. Thank you for the opportunity. We want to recommend to you. We know that this August Valley will be able to pass this bill for the interest of the citizens. The issue the senator raised on the contract. We have a hearing with the lower house. In that hearing, Firestone said they were giving letter, they were giving document to giving them go ahead to contract the farm. It's said by the previous government. And we know that it is only you, the elders, can amend the law, the non-executive. So I want you people to see reason. That letter, let them be able to bring it, because they are not the one that's supposed to amend law. That you supposed to amend law. They sell it to the lower house and nothing happened. Send out, I can say, sent 2 years ago. So if they will be giving any leverage to undermine the concession agreement, I think it could be you that will give them a matter of power to do it. In our executive have no authority to amend law. So I want to recommend that to you. Thank you so much.
Did you say that they outsource the what? Did they outsource the what? What the contract is about?
It outsources almost 85% of the whole plantation.
Yes.
Because of that particular document.
So what is that document you say?
I don't know anyone. They said, according to them, it is the executive by them gave them the authority to outsource the farm. And we know that the concession agreement came into being because of an act in our executive work. So we are asking you
farm or the what on the farm?
They work within the plantation because tapping, even in the factory where people do they do the block rubber, they have outsourced almost all of those places. And the now executive is to implement whatsoever you put on the paper. They are not the one that's supposed to amend the law. So I recommend that.
To the attention of labor?
But that's not that labor.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I think the labor minister spoke about it. And he really said it's important to revert to the concession that Firestone was granted for job creation. So now that the labor union, right? Labor union president is focusing it, that aligns with that comment coming from the labor minister. I think the labor minister now should inform this body through the committee so that we can look at the issue. I think it's grave. It's a serious issue. Because those are some of the issues that Senator Yantuan, for example, is raising with Aston Vital. You know, you get this concession where we grant concession so that you give our people job, create job opportunities. But then you outsource everything, you give it to contractors so that no benefit, you mention it, no schools, no health care, nothing. And it just becomes like, you know, like a gangster situation, for lack of a better word. So I think there's something grave that we need to look at. I would suggest that you work with your committee so that we can flag it and look into it. Very important.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Senator.
You can pray for the vote.
All right, so no, yeah, please sit down. We don't close like that. We have to, if you look at the agenda, you see some of them call their closing remarks, take away. What have we done here? What have we achieved here? What are we going home with? So let me, on behalf of the committee, say thank you to to our witnesses, that NASCA, the Ministry of Labor, that NASCA, there's the agriculture, wood, allied construction union, right? Did I get it right? Okay, the Firestone Workers Union for coming. We invited employers, but unfortunately we don't have any employer here. So we want to say thank you on behalf of the committee for coming and for sharing your perspectives on this very important matter. We'll consider all of the inputs. If need be, we'll send for you to come to the committee room so that we can get further clarity from you. On the matter raised by Firestone Workers Union lastly, Mr. Minister, the committee wants to ask you, or is asking you, to please look into that and report to us. The matter of the outsourcing of the work on the plantation. The Firestone is supposed to do that. Please look at the concession agreement, look at whatever contractual arrangement between Firestone and the outsourced company, whatever that may be, and let us know. Let us have the information so that we take it up from there. If there's something we need to do about that, so that we can do that. Again, on behalf of the committee, I say thank you very much for coming, and we look forward to probably working with you again in the future. Committee members, fellow senators, I also want to say thank you for your support and thank you for being here.